Ivan Pavlenko, From Family to Family, Chapter 3, Part 6.1, Rise and Fall, read by Natalia Buzova. After the trials of Mitrofan, Musi, and Tatiana, I began to think about how to change the job of a storekeeper to a safer one. The fact is that the circle of people associated with me was expanding. Bosses, relatives, good friends, neighbors. Once you gave something, they would ask for the second time. No matter how careful you were, someday you yourself would be in court. Therefore, I rounded off my business as a storekeeper and in April 1949 handed it over to Mykola Yefimovich Solomucha, Ptitchin. In May of the same year, I began working as an agent for Upom Minzak. There was such an organization in the area then. It was headed by the authorized representative of the Ministry of Procurement of the USSR, Matyusha. His official apparatus included a deputy, a chief accountant, 5 or 6 accountants, a technical secretary, a driver with a car, and about 10 agents, one for 2 or 3 villages. The representative with his apparatus brought a plan for the delivery of grain, potatoes, sugar beets, oilseeds, and garden crops, as well as meat, milk, eggs, wool, and leather to the state, to each collective farmer and each peasant household. The implementation of the proven plan was strictly controlled through the district committee of the party and the executive committee of the district council, as well as through village councils and local agents. I was appointed agent for 3 villages, Yashniki, Sveredivka, Stepuki. Stepan Sokolovsky, who at that time was Matyusha's deputy, arranged for me for this job. The work was, one might say, dog-like. Agents were mainly responsible for peasant households. If the owner did not fulfill something, we called him to the village council for a talk, and sometimes we went from house to house demanding to pay off the state. That's when I saw with my own eyes what real poverty was. Once I visited debtor to the state, Prokip Palivoda. He was somewhat similar to the Yashnikis Fedor Shupa. He lived very poorly, although he worked on the collective farm like a damn horse. He was even awarded the medal for valiant labor in the Great Patriotic War. I entered the house. He was sitting at the table having breakfast. Around him there were small children, half naked and grimy. The hostess poured something into their cranial bowl and, throwing an angry glance in my direction, said irritably, "Eat potatoes, children, and you, Prokop, sip the stew and take your Magdal and go to work." In those days, if a man did not have any craft or outside income in his hands, no matter how he worked on the collective farm, he would not feed his family with honest labor. In Yashniki, reeds and the Lochvitsa Bazaar helped out, but in Sveredivka there was no meadow of its own, and it was far from the bazaar. Consequently, there were many insolvent farms. In some rather rare cases, it was possible to draw up an act on this, issue a resolution of the village council, and only then Upominzak would release such a family from handing over meat to the state. Thanks to Stepan Sokolovsky, I was able to push through several such acts and thus increase the percentage of the plan for my side. Also, some men handed over to the state a bull or a cow weighing 459 kilograms, and it was necessary to hand over 44 kilograms. The state paid them money for above-plan delivery, although it was lower than the market price. Therefore, my villages in total over-fulfilled the annual plan for the delivery of meat, and I was awarded the 13th salary and accepted into the ranks of the CPSUB. In my autobiography and questionnaire, I wrote that I had not been in captivity, but in the hospital for treatment after a severe wound, and they accepted me. And after a while, the district committee of the party recommended me for the position of director of the Lochvitsa inter-district office Zahod Zhiv Serovina. The office served two districts, Lokhvitsky and Sechansky. Our farm was located on the territory of the former tannery, which had belonged to the father of the famous composer Isaac Dostoevsky. We had two warehouses, raw leather and fur in Lokhvitsa and a combined one in Sencha. There were also three slaughterhouses in Lokhvitsa, in Pisky, and in Luka. Collective farms and individual citizens gave us all kinds of leather and furs. In addition, they were collected in the villages and by our traveling agents. We had horses and carts for this, as well as a truck by which we sent raw leather to Poltava to the factory. Frankly, my new rise to the level of the regional nomenclature was of course pleasant, but I did not like the work itself. There were laborers who were prone to drinking and dishonest. Traveling agents cheated in the villages, deceiving people, and also drank. Before me, the Jew Kremyansky had worked as a director. He had been removed because someone had stolen 25,000 rubles from the cash desk at night, received from the bank for the purchase of raw materials from the population. After himself, he left two Jews as warehouse managers and one traveling agent. Subsequently, I became convinced that they were the biggest scammers. But from the beginning, I did not begin to fight with them. I had to get used to it and then act. Almost half of my working days, I was not in the office, but on the road around the district. I clarified with the chairman of the village councils the progress of the plans for the delivery of raw leather to the state. Sometimes the district committee of the party sent me to various meetings to the collective farms to provide patronage assistance or in the role of a party representative. Being also a member of the bureau of the district committee of the Komsomol, I traveled around the villages and held Komsomol meetings. And once the director of the Regional House of Culture, Ivan Pavlenko, came to my office. He said that our fellow countryman, actor Chaslovets Grigory Akimovich, had returned to the region from the Poltava theater with his wife, also an actress. It had been difficult for them to live in Poltava on one salary, not having their own apartment, and they decided to move in with Grigory's elderly parents, who had a house and some household. Grigory Akimovich would work as the artistic director of the House of Culture, and his wife would work as a cashier and at the same time a cloakroom attendant. The amateur theater, traditional for Lokhvitsa, was being restored. Stage lovers would be taken to the position of an accountant, two technical workers, and a driver. A well-known actress of the Kiev theater named after Ivan Pavlenko, Alexandrovskaya, who was already retired, agreed to participate in rehearsals. Young actors from the garment factory and other organizations would also be involved. Finally, Mishenko said, "I remember you for your work in the Yashniki Drama Club and at the regional contest. I highly appreciate your creative abilities, so I invite you to join our drama team." Rehearsals would be held once or twice a week in the evening. I agreed. After the first theatrical rehearsals, our director, Grigory Zaslanets, offered me the role of Roman in the play 100,000. At rehearsals, I saw for the first time how a professional director worked with the team and how real actors worked with the role. There was a lot to learn, but my rural experience came in handy. Our first performance was approvingly received by the people of Lokhvitsa. We also visited a sugar factory in Pisky. The second was the play Martin Borulia, in which I played the role of Stepan, the son of Borulia. And then the director entrusted me with more serious roles, the Dr. Arkady in Platon Cratchit, writer Batur in Viburnum Grove. We invited the authorities to every premiere. And one day, after the performance of Viburnum Grove, I was called by the secretary of the district committee of the party, Fedorko, and asked somewhat ironically, Aren't you fed up with working in leather preparation? I understood that there would be some proposal regarding my promotion to another position. Therefore, I frankly admitted that I really did not like working for Zavod Živ Sirovina.